This is a story that begins on a warm spring night at a meeting of the 20th Century Motors employees. It is a night I'll never forget. When the owner of the company died, his children took over and brought in a new plan to run the factory. The plan was that everybody would work as hard as they could, but share in their salaries and the profit based on need. That is, those who claimed they needed the money most were the ones who got paid the most.
This is a crucial moment in the history of this company. Remember, each of us now belongs to the other by the moral law we all voted for and we all accept.
I don't. I don't accept it.
His words caused confusion, but he stood there like a man who knew he was right.
And I'm going to put a stop to this, once and for all.
How?
I'll stop the motor of the world.
And with those words, he was gone. In the 12 years that followed, lights went out in the great factories which had stood as solid as oak trees for generations. Their gates closed as if some silent power had turned them into lifeless shells. The world was quietly crumbling, with no end in sight. The high seas weren't safe anymore. Cargo no longer reached its destination. Shortages grounded airlines, and it was too expensive for most to drive. Regulations strangled the production of coal, gas, oil, and nuclear power. Power outages were frequent because no copper was available to maintain the transmission lines. Taggart Transcontinental, the largest railroad in the country, was one of the few things still operating. We began to wonder. We began to talk about what he'd said and thought maybe he'd kept his word. That perhaps he had stopped the motor of the world. Some even tried to look for him, but he had vanished without a trace. And so had a lot of other people. We wondered what sort of impossible power he had to keep his promise. All the best and the brightest seemed to be disappearing without explanation. Perhaps people kept asking the question because they knew something had gone missing from the world. Perhaps this is why we began to say it. We couldn't help but think of the young lab engineer who said he would stop the motor of the world. You see, his name was...
Who is
John Galt.
In the movie clip you just saw from Atlas Shrugged, what you kind of see happening in that movie is a dystopian future unfolding. Society is basically collapsing within this movie, and as it collapses, there is an Atlantis being built by a man named John Galt. And the continuous question is, who is John Galt? And I'll tell you who John Galt is, and I'll tell you what everybody else is not telling you about John Galt, but John Galt is their little version of the Antichrist. Okay, that's what's going on in this video, people. Speaking of the movie Atlas Shrugged itself, and I'm gonna say this, it's an awful movie, absolutely awful movie. It's made terribly. All right, it's not even worth watching. It's literally a ridiculous amount of nothing to have to watch. But I just gave it to you in a nutshell, really. You know, society's collapsing, it's falling apart, and they're trying to build this dystopian future in this area where they take all these prominent people, and that's what I want to kind of hone in on here for a second, is all these prominent people are disappearing, all right? Whether they're dying, whether they're being taken away to this Atlantis, who knows? But ultimately, the prominent people are beginning to disappear within this movie. Now, I've stumbled upon some news articles that I think you're going to find very interesting, and these are before any sort of pandemic had ever happened. Something I'd like to share with you about this book known as Atlas Shrugged, and this is where the movie came from, and it was written by a woman named Ayn Rand, okay? And me and my brother, Doc Marquis, had a phone conversation privately. This isn't in any of his DVDs. It's not out there at all. And unfortunately, Doc has passed away, so I can't just, you know, have him tell you himself. But he had stated that Ayn Rand was one of the Rothschild's mistresses, okay, way back in the day, all right, when she was young, all right, and that she was under orders of the Illuminati to write this book, is what Doc said. Doc Marquis absolutely said this to me. I asked him, I said, Doc, why did she even write it? And he said, Josh, for one reason and one reason alone. He said, to tell the world what they're going to do to them. All right, that's what this book is all about. All right, so it's no coincidence that if you watch that clip in the beginning of this video where we showed you the intro to Atlas Shrugged Part 3, because there's 3 parts to the movie, and I'm telling you, don't watch them. You're going to be bored the whole entire time. But the point of it is that the world is falling apart, all right? All of the transportation is starting to crumble. All the infrastructure of the world is starting to crumble, all right? And as they do this, all these prominent people start coming up missing, all right? Whether they're being killed, whether they're not being killed, we don't know. But here's the thing. All these people that I've shown you in these news articles are getting killed, all right? But are they getting killed, or are they being disappeared, and then the situation's being made to look like they were murdered, so everybody just gives up on the situation? You know, there's been plenty of people who have faked their own death, and the government is really good at what they do, all right? So if they wanted all these people to work for them in some, you know, huge city somewhere, you know, or that they have established underground, all right, to serve the elite, all right, it's very possible, all right. And then they have this new movie that comes out known as The 3-Body Problem. I have to warn you, there's a little bit of graphic imagery within this video. There's some dead bodies, some blood, things like that, but it's necessary for everybody to be able to see what they're portraying in this, because I believe that it's Atlas Shrugged being repackaged. Check this video out.
There must be 30 dead scientists in the past month. Christ, another countdown.
Has anyone else seen it? What happened to them?
Someone or something is targeting scientists.
They're going after our best and brightest. There's someone behind everything. You just have to dig.
Whatever it is, it's watching and listening.
We don't know what they are. Maybe we can't know what they are.
your right to be scared. But we have got one shot, and I need your help.
Prepare yourself for something very strange.
They are coming, and there's nothing you can do to stop them.
In this movie, Three Body Problem, I find it very interesting that the disappearances of all these prominent people are leading up to a disclosure event in this movie, okay? And it's also being coupled with this whole metaverse stuff, all right? And AI and all of this stuff. And I've been saying for a while that AI is running propaganda in real time. AI is in the cockpit, I promise you. It's in control of the internet, it's in control of Google, it's in control of YouTube, and all these different platforms. It's the one that does all the checks and balances for all the videos, and you literally have to trick AI to be able to get most videos up, and a lot of content creators don't know that. You know, anyways, getting past that, they want this disclosure event, and I truly believe that AI is like I said, running propaganda campaigns in real time. I mean, I believe that AI is so advanced behind closed doors that it can create cinematic movies in just a snap. In just a snap. It's no coincidence that during the pandemic and even before the pandemic, it was like they were running out of movie ideas. Did you see that? They were absolutely running out of movie ideas. And it was stale for years, like 3 years. Like there was no good movies out whatsoever. And I'm sorry, I'm a big movie buff. I like watching movies. And that's okay. I don't see anything wrong with it as long as you're not, like, you know, letting it change you as to the person that you are. Be stronger than the subliminal propaganda they're pushing. But what I'm saying is that I believe AI is in control of Project Bluebeam as well, all right? And that during these little events that keep happening, you know, like the Las Vegas alien and the aliens in the Miami Mall, we don't know if this could be Project Bluebeam. I'm not saying it's not, all right? And I'm not saying it is, but that's my opinion, is I think it's Project Bluebeam being ran by AI in real time, and then AI can cook up these movies real fast to confirm what people are saying and seeing on the internet. So the AI is analyzing the internet from what people's opinions are. It's taking the majority and it's beginning to create these movies on the fly. That's just my opinion. They're going to say, oh, this person wrote this movie and this person produced this movie, but we don't know that it's them. It very well could be AI behind the scenes creating this sort of stuff. All right, they are projecting the same things that they projected in Atlas Shrugged that was written years and years and years and years ago. All right, years ago. I mean, well over 40 years ago. All right, so it's almost Atlas Shrugged repackaged. It's what the Illuminati wants to do to mankind. All right, is what I'm trying to share with you. All right, I'm trying to give you a picture that as these prominent people are disappearing, and they've continued to disappear. There's lots of mysterious deaths all over the place happening right now. All right, that as that begins to happen, they're telling you in this movie that soon alien disclosure is going to come. See, I don't believe in aliens. I believe they're demons. All right, but I believe when they start pushing that agenda, and we've covered this in past videos. All right, but when they start pushing that agenda, the disclosure agenda, pre-tribulation rapture is not far off. All right, and I feel this is just another sign that they are getting ready to try to explain away the things that are coming upon the earth. And when the Christians get taken off the earth, the ones who truly believe and truly serve the Lord, all right, when those Christians get taken off the earth, all right, they're going to have to cook up something real fast, all right, to be able to explain away all these things, all right. And like I said, those that watch this channel know what I have to think about all that, all right. But I'll tell you right here, right now, all right, this is no coincidence, people, that this three-body problem has come out, and it's no coincidence it lines up with Atlas Shrugged, and it's no coincidence all these prominent people have died, and then now all of a sudden this alien disclosure situation is coming out, you know, with aliens in the mall and aliens in Las Vegas and aliens down in South America, you know, attacking the villages. I've shown all these footages before. I don't even need to show them again. But I'll tell you right now, I think it's leading up to this false deception, and they're trying to get ready to explain away the pre-tribulation rapture and usher in their false Messiah. I appreciate each and every single one of you that has watched this video up until now. May God bless you. May God keep you. And please don't forget to go out and change the world in which you live.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Thompson will not speak to you tonight. His time is up. For years you've asked, who is John Galt? You've asked that question in despair and resignation as factories closed, goods became scarce, jobs disappeared. Your lives are becoming more difficult as the life force of your world is draining away. You have asked that question without expecting an answer. I'm here to answer it. This is John Galt speaking. Mr. Thompson won't tell you the truth about the crisis in your world. I will. Have you noticed that as everything around you seems to decline, one thing still grows? It is the power of your rulers. None of their plans and directives have solved your problems or made your life better. The only result has been their increased control over you at the cost of your freedom. Do you know why? You gave them the power. They called for your sacrifice, and you thought it was noble. They said if you worked for yourself and your family, that you were selfish and uncaring, and they made you feel ashamed. They denounced the leaders of industry as greedy exploiters, the Ellis Wyatts, the Hank Reardons, and again, you agreed. And then you ask, why did they and others like them disappear? I took them from you. Their achievements flowed from their creative minds. Once they understood that the attempt to control their work was an attempt to control their minds, they left. The people on strike worked for themselves, for their own vision of what was possible. When they recognized the honor they deserved, they rebelled against the guilt you wanted them to feel for their success. You counted on them to keep producing, to keep thinking, even as you denounced them as selfish. I showed them they were being punished for their own virtues, and I showed them how evil that is. I made it my mission to help these heroes say no. All evil needs to win is the consent of good people. They have joined me to freely produce, trade, cooperate, and compete in a place where the rights of all are protected. Do not try to find us. Do not try to bargain for our return. Get out of our way. To everyone within the range of my voice, you now have a choice to make. If you decide to support the notion of sacrifice enforced by the state, your game is up. Your world is in a downward spiral, and you will ride it down to destruction. But if you share the values of our strike, if you believe that your life is a sacred possession for you to make the most of, if you want to live by the judgment of your own mind, not edicts from the state, then follow our lead. Do not support your own oppressors. Stop letting the system exploit you. Form your own communities on the frontiers of your crumbling world. Your rulers hold you by your endurance to carry the burdens they impose. by your generosity when you hear cries of despair, and above all, by your innocence which cannot grasp the depths of their evil. The world you are living in is the world they wanted. Leave them to it. Those who have left you are eager to build a better world, a world of freedom and opportunity, a world based on mutual respect. In that world, you will rise in the morning with the spirit you knew in childhood, the spirit of eagerness and adventure, and the confidence that the world is what it is and is there for you to discover. In that world, you will not receive alms, nor pity, nor forgiveness of sins, but honor, respect, and justice. Don't let the fire go out spark by irreplaceable spark in confusion and despair. Be sure of your path. The world you desire can be won. It exists. It is real. It is possible. It is yours.